In 2016, a family from Ohio adopted an orphan from Uganda, but soon learned of a heartbreak for which no one could have prepared.
Kids for sale.
Her name is Namada, and this is her in Ohio with her adoptive family. Oh, God. Namada was born here in a tiny village in Uganda. But in 2015, when she was just 5, Jessica and Adam Davis adopted her.
Jessica and Adam Davis, from Ohio, set out on a mission to help a child in need, adding a 5 kiddo to their bunch. They did some research and found that Uganda has one of the highest rates of orphaned children in the world. Therefore, they got in touch with Ohio-based adoption agency eConsultants and set out on a nearly $60,000 adventure. After a year of paperwork and waiting, they finally met Namata, lovingly called Mata. Her files stated she'd been neglected and starved by her mother and had never been to school. Meanwhile, her father had died. Consequently, it sounded to everyone as though the Davis family was helping a poor and starving orphan find a better life. However, the couple felt like something was off, and months later, they would come to realize what that gut feeling was all about. Mata picked up English quickly, which likely would have been more difficult for someone who'd never attended school before. The first sign that the orphan may, in fact, have not been an orphan. Pieces began fitting better together for the family when Mata had picked up enough English to tell her story. She would share with her new family how she and her biological mother had spent a lot of time together. Mata happily told tales of how she and her mother would cook and go to church together, and how her mother would walk with her to school. The 6-year-old Ugandan girl was not an orphan. Now her new family was on a mission to reunite their girl with her biological family.
Adoption consultants.
What did they tell you when they called you about Mata?
We were told her father was deceased, that she was being severely neglected at home, and her mother was leaving her open to abuse.
Mata spoke with her biological mom over Skype, getting to meet her newborn baby sister.
Why are you so excited, Mata?
Because I get to talk to my mom.
How nice. Are you happy?
Yeah. Hannah, how you doing?
We are doing fine. How are you?
Like all kids, Mata wanted to know why her mother had given her away. Despite the thrill of seeing her mother for the first time in a year, the conversation ended with Mata in tears. "My mom was tricked," she repeatedly sobbed. "My mom was tricked." The orphan's mother explained that she hadn't intended for Mata to go away for good. In fact, Mata was only supposed to be gone temporarily for a great educational opportunity. "I had not realized that I had gone through a process to take away my parental rights completely," she said in sworn testimony on September 8, 2016. Furthermore, she'd been led to believe that she would always be a part of her daughter's life. Meanwhile, Jessica Davis was heartbroken and beating herself up for having participated in taking a child from a loving family. When this story came to light, CNN conducted an investigation, finding that multiple families were misled about the origins of their new family members and that many weren't orphans at all. The families of these children were led to believe they would have been given a better education, and instead were sold to unsuspecting American families for around $15,000 each. According to UNICEF, nearly 1/3 of all detected victims of human trafficking are children.
They just kept saying this is a mother that does not want her child.
So it was made clear to you that Mata's mother was relinquishing her, didn't want her.
Oh, 100%.
There's no question.
No, not at all.
For generations, people have been bought and sold as any other piece of property might be. However, people are living beings, and as such, many countries have put laws in place to prevent this kind of mistreatment. The most important thing anyone can do to help prevent this and other forms of abuse is to thoroughly research any opportunity that might be too good to be true. Many people in developing countries seek out the promise of a better life. It's all any parent wants for their children. Sadly, people desperately looking to find a better route for their babies become prey and are tricked into giving them up. Meanwhile, families unwittingly adopt orphans who've been wrongfully taken from their homes. Reunite is an organization that was founded in 1987 under a different name. However, their mission has always remained the same, reuniting wrongfully orphaned children with their biological families. They started as a small organization, documenting around 70 cases of child abduction annually. They've since grown significantly and are now involved in conducting investigations, holding charity events to raise funds and offer mediation for victims and their families. Founder for the Uganda Project, Kieran Riley explains that vulnerable mothers are typically widowed and without any way to provide for their families. Sadly, she also discloses that many of the traffickers include law enforcement, lawyers, and teachers. Furthermore, she said that it's particularly easy to deceive Ugandan mothers because there is no word for adoption. Riley played an integral role in reuniting Mata and her birth mother.
Every single thing in that file and that we were told, aside from the file, she unraveled to be a lie.
A lie? How could that be?
Sharing in regard to Mata's village, a villager turned trafficker made a pitch at a local church and managed to get 7 children into the adoption circuit, including Mata, who was sent to a place called God's Mercy, Abauta.
Davises flew to Uganda to meet Mata, their new daughter.
She was in an orphanage, no toys, bars on the windows.
The orphanage was called God's Mercy, and it was about 4 hours from Mata's village.
4-hour drive away. She was at an orphanage. No toys. Bars on the windows. Jessica said of the first time she met the orphan she thought would become her daughter. Unsurprisingly, this isn't the only scandal the adoption agency has faced, with some past employees admitting to accepting bribery. Therefore, it's essential that people looking to adopt an orphan do extensive research. Regardless of how much faith you may put into an adoption agency, or how burnt out you may be from the whole process, always double-check the facts. When looking into an agency, referrals are a great resource. And always trust your first instincts. Typically, if something feels off, wrong, uncomfortable, or too good to be true, there's usually an underlying cause for concern. You may not yet know it. The journey to parenthood in any regard is taxing and emotional. However, there are thousands of children worldwide who need loving homes.
With that FaceTime call, she learned
The true story.
that her mother was tricked.
1 year after they brought Mata home to Ohio, this.
So Mata, what's today?
I'm going home.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
Are you going to Uganda?
Yeah.
After a 14-hour journey, Mata finally arrived home to her village.
I love it.